The creek behind my property wasn't just a strip of water. It was history. Generations of families before me had relied on it. It flowed gently through the land, carving its way between ancient oak trees, their roots curling into the water like they'd been drinking from it for centuries. The sound of it was my morning coffee. In the spring, wildflowers bloomed along its edges. In the summer, deer came to drink at dusk. In the fall, leaves floated like golden boats down the current. It wasn't just beautiful, it was essential. The creek drained excess rainwater from the hills above, preventing flooding and keeping my soil fertile. Without it, my land could turn into a soggy, useless mess. One warm morning in early July, I noticed something odd. The sound of rushing water was gone. Just gone. My first thought was maybe a tree had fallen and blocked it. But when I walked down to the bank, my heart stopped. A solid wall of gray, jagged concrete spanned the width of the creek like a dam. The water was gone, except for a stagnant puddle filled with dead leaves and insects. The air smelled sour, like something that should never be trapped had been suffocated. At first, I thought maybe it was a county flood control project. But when I saw muddy tire tracks leading back toward the new subdivision the HOA had been building, I knew. This wasn't an accident. The new HOA had been nothing but trouble since their subdivision broke ground. Their million-dollar homes were built downstream from my property. For months, they had been whining that too much water was eroding their landscaping and threatening their foundations. I'd told them again and again, this creek has been here for hundreds of years. It's nature. You don't get to just turn it off. So I marched right over to the HOA president's house. His name was Greg. The kind of man who believed mirrored sunglasses made him look important. He opened the door with his chin tilted upward, like he was already bored with me. "Why did you fill my creek with concrete?" I demanded. He smirked. "Your creek? It's a public waterway. And we had to protect our investments. That water was destabilizing our homes." "You just destroyed an entire ecosystem," I said. Greg shrugged. "It's just a little ditch. You'll be fine. Besides, we got permits." I knew immediately he was lying. You can't just pour concrete into a natural creek without serious environmental approval. And Greg? Greg didn't strike me as the follow the law type. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the fish, frogs, and plants that were probably dying because of what they'd done. So I decided to fight back, but I'd need proof. For 2 weeks, I dug through public records at the county clerk's office, scanned through environmental permits online, and called the local water management district. Every answer confirmed what I suspected: there were no permits. Worse for them, blocking a creek like this was a direct violation of the Clean Water Act and several state environmental protection laws. Then I found something even more interesting: the concrete barrier was trapping rainwater upstream. And guess what sat directly above that trapped water? Their precious new homes. They had basically built million-dollar houses on a swamp without realizing it. The ground beneath their foundations was becoming waterlogged. Given enough time, or a big enough storm, their homes would start to sink. I made a few phone calls. First to the EPA. Then to the county environmental inspector. And finally, to a local investigative journalist who loved exposing crooked HOAs. It took less than a month for nature to take over my plan. One Friday afternoon, dark clouds rolled in and the air grew heavy. By nightfall, rain was pounding the rooftops. It didn't stop for 48 hours. The blocked creek couldn't drain the water fast enough, so it spread, slowly at first, then rapidly. I stood at my window and watched their manicured lawns disappear under brown, swirling water. The street in front of their subdivision turned into a shallow river. By the second night, the water had seeped into basements. I could hear the faint hum of sump pumps running non-stop. Then came the sound I'd been waiting for, a sharp cracking noise as one of the home's foundations gave way. The journalist I'd called was there, filming everything. Angry homeowners stood in the rain, shouting about that damn HOA, and demanding to know who was responsible. Greg? Nowhere in sight. When the county inspector finally arrived, he didn't waste time. The demolition crew smashed through the illegal barrier, and the creek came roaring back to life. But the damage was done. The subdivision's soil was ruined, its value destroyed. Several homes were condemned, deemed unsafe to live in. Insurance companies refused to cover the damage, citing illegal alteration of natural waterways. Greg was forced to resign in disgrace. The HOA dissolved shortly after, but the residents were left with sinking homes, mold-ridden walls, and a permanent reminder that they had done this to themselves. As for me, my creek flows freely again. The oaks stand proud, their roots once more drinking from the water. Sometimes I sit on the bank, listening to the rush, and think about how greed always finds a way to drown itself.